Hello everyone. Season 7 has finally ended. It's going to be a long wait for season 8, especially if it comes out in 2019. But if you've been with my channel long enough, you know there's no off season for us. I'll keep posting Game of Thrones videos. I heard the filming for season 8 will start in October, which means the casting news, locations, etc. should start coming in from next month. Along with my theory videos, I'll also post the season 8 updates, set photos, etc. And in the meantime, we can also binge watch some other shows together and discuss it here. So don't forget to give us your suggestions using hashtag UBMTV Marathon in the comments below. I'll post the second part of this review, my episode 6 Q&A and season 8 predictions videos soon. Make sure to subscribe this channel and also click on the bell next to it to activate notifications for this channel. So, let's take a look at this episode. So much has happened in this episode, I don't even know where to start. Let's start with the north and then we'll move south from there. The wall is finally broken, or at least a part of it is. The scene was so epic, although I thought the Night King will bring down the whole wall, not just a part of it. But I guess this works better. Bringing the whole wall down would have wasted time and energy, and he has already waited for 6 seasons. We don't know if Beric and Tormund survived the attack, but judging from the thick plot armors they had on in the episode 6, I would say they somehow survived. Besides, I don't see why Roller will bring Beric back if he was going to die a useless death like this. I think he will die trying to do something important. By the way, when the army of the dead approached, did you notice there were only 3 White Walkers leading the army? What happened to the rest of them? In one of my previous videos, we discussed the number of White Walkers we have seen so far. According to that, there should be 8 more White Walkers waiting somewhere. Anyways, the Night's Watch sounded 3 blasts for the others. I don't think this warning would have helped them much, but luckily, Bran's ravens were at Eastwatch too, so he will know what has happened there. Once Jon and Dany arrive at Winterfell, he can tell them about the Wall and Viserion. And speaking of Viserion, Abby Tabby and Davy Boy have asked earlier whether Viserion was a White or a White Walker. As I've said in my episode 6 review videos before, it turns out Viserion really was a White. We saw the proof of that in the season finale. You could see the holes in Viserion's wings. Just like the damaged parts of the Whites don't heal, Viserion's wings didn't heal either. So Viserion is not a White Walker, he's a White. I even had this chart prepared for my episode 6 Q&A video to show the difference between a White and a White Walker. Never mind, I'll keep it in the video anyways, even if it's too late now. Anyways, let's go a little south to Winterfell now. As I've said in my Sansa's masterplan video, the Stark sisters fighting was in fact a part of Sansa's plan. I loved the look on Littlefinger's face when Sansa accused him instead of Arya. The Stark kids named his crimes one by one, and then Arya executed him with his own dagger. As I've said earlier, Bran had been conveniently absent from the last episode for this reason alone, because he has already told them everything and Sansa and Arya were only pretending to fight. I loved when Arya said, "My sister asked you something." This was one of my favorite scenes from this season. I've watched it a million times already. Watching Littlefinger trying to find a way out of this was really amazing. Usually, he finds his way out of every situation. At first, he tried to make Lysa an unreliable source, thinking she has told Sansa about the tears of Liz. Then, when they talked about King's Landing, he tried to say that none of them were there, so they don't know how he had no choice. But then Arya brought up the knife, in which he did have a choice, but he lied to Cat about it. When Littlefinger understood that they know everything, he tried one last time to get Sansa alone, so that he could manipulate her somehow. He even pretended to cry, but even his overacting didn't work. Sansa had looked sad before going in the Great Hall. In a way, she did admire him a little. In fact, she has learned a lot from him. I think the reason they played this game, instead of executing Littlefinger the second Bran told them about him, was because Sansa wanted to give Littlefinger one more chance. She probably wanted to see what he will do, and Littlefinger did what he does best. He plotted against Sansa's family. Even if Bran hadn't been there to tell Sansa about him, there was one mistake that would have given Littlefinger away. Littlefinger tried to make Sansa think that Arya was doing all this to become the Lady of Winterfell, but he didn't know Arya like Sansa did. Arya would rather eat bugs than be a lady. Littlefinger was already a dead man walking the second Sansa found out what he has done. That's why Arya and Sansa didn't care if he found out about Arya being a faceless man. They knew Littlefinger won't tell anyone about this so that he could use this information later, but they weren't going to let him live long enough to get a chance to use it. By the way, I still think that Sansa wrote that letter to send Brienne away. Brienne would have noticed the enmity between the Stark sisters and would have tried to get in the way, or Littlefinger would have tried to get her involved somehow. So Sansa needed her out of the way. Did you notice that Cersei didn't even acknowledge Brienne or asked why Sansa wasn't there or was defying the Queen's orders? Cersei didn't act like Sansa has missed the meeting. If Cersei really had sent that letter, she would have taken it as an insult that Sansa didn't follow her order. At the very least, she would have mentioned this at least once in the meeting, but she didn't. It means Sansa was the one who wrote that letter. Anyways, Theon was finally able to fight back and win in a fight with Harag. I think it's pronounced Harag. As I've said in my episode 7 trailer review and many videos before that, everything Theon has gone through has to mean something, that it was all for a reason, and it was. His time with Ramsay made him able to suffer pain more than any normal person can. He was knocked down again and again, but he was still able to stand up because he has suffered much worse pain and survived. Eventually, he fought back and won. He actually won, and then he laughed for the first time since Ramsay. He became a little bit like the old Theon too, but a slightly better version of him. And in the process, he also gained the respect of the Ironborn. Because let's be honest, no one would have taken the old Theon seriously. They used to laugh at him, but they respect this new Theon. All he needed to do was to get over his fear. I still believe that Theon will be the one to ultimately lead the Ironborn. Maybe Yara will die in season 8, or maybe she will make Theon king herself, but I am sure Theon will be the one to lead them. Theon tried to explain why he did what he did to Jon and ask forgiveness. Theon was put in an impossible situation. He was taken hostage at the age of 10, and later he was forced to choose between his family, who ridiculed him, or his captors, even if they were nice captors. The Starks have never fully accepted him as one of them, and he was desperate to prove himself to his family, and a desperate man will do anything. I think the conversation he had with Jon helped too, remembering the old days and Jon forgiving him and all. Jon said that Theon is a Stark too. I think, in a way, Theon has always believed that he deserved what he got from Ramsay. But when Jon forgave him, he allowed to forgive himself too. Jon had told Theon that he was both a Greyjoy and a Stark. I have a feeling that Jon will be told a similar thing later, that he is a Targaryen and a Stark. He doesn't have to choose. Who knows, maybe Theon will be the one to say it back to him. And it turns out, Theon wasn't taking any blessing from the drowned god. He was just washing blood off his face. But I think the drowned god will give him his blessing anyways. It's time for the comment shoutout now. Today's comment shoutout goes to Shelly Belly, who said, Ultimate Book Maniacs, you make me giggle. I enjoy your subtle humor. Sam and the Chamber Pots, Davos dying of natural causes, etc. Keep the videos coming. Thanks a lot, Shelly. Finally, someone noticed my humor. I know I'm terrible at making jokes, but I try anyways. Remember Bran the Warrior from my season 6 Q&A part 1 video? Or one way or another joke from my Bran's journey video? I know I'm bad at it, but I really appreciate that you liked my jokes. So, what do you think of these theories? Don't forget to tell us in the comments. If you like this video, please click on the like button below, share the video and subscribe to my channel. Have a great day. Bye bye. See you in my next video.